Hey, this is Robert, and thank you for tuning in to Station Square, everybody. And yeah, we're already in April, and it is a nice, we're kind of getting like, that early taste of the summer weather here in LA. So we're kind of back in the, yeah, like literally as I was just telling my guest here, my returning guest actually, I just got back from vacation, and you know how we're just kind of getting back into the routine? Well, we're getting back into the routine with the weather, which is a plus. But yeah, but as you've already see, if you can see in the corner here, we have Lindsay joining us once again. And
Hello.
yeah, it is, yeah, and I was just thinking about it. I think the last time we spoke, and I think we were just kind of the reason that this is kind of like running a little late is that you were kind of in a meeting for something that is still going on because I think the last time we spoke, we were in a strike, and now we're
Yep.
kind of still technically in a.
Oh, we are still very much in a strike. Not technical about it. It's all technical.
Yeah, like look at here. Just get this out of the way. Just support
Yep.
everything.
Yep. Yeah. So we're preparing because we're still in negotiations. And so we are constantly having meetings about it and working on our counters and trying to do everything we can to get people back to work, but making sure that everyone is protected from, abuses by artificial intelligence. And yeah.
Yeah, and it's still ongoing, folks. Like I know that when you hear a strike, it can last for some cases it can kind of last days, months, years, and this is one that has been that is ongoing for years. So yeah, let's
Seems like it. Yeah.
yeah, it pretty much feels like a decade has come gone by at this point. Let's just be honest. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
it
say.
really does.
Yeah,
But
but
we've been on strike since last July, so it's getting close to a year. Yeah.
oh my, wow, I can't believe it's almost gonna be a year already. But yeah, I just want to thank you so much for stopping by and
Yeah.
yeah, just chat about whatever we can discuss that we haven't talked about the last time. Just as a quick little fun follow up on just, life, how you've been doing, just
Yeah.
yeah, just to chill, catch up on just stuff.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, in case you couldn't tell, completely unscripted, nothing prepared for this, so we're just gonna make this live to the best that we can. Because
Yes,
that's what y'all
exactly.
like. So, anyways, yeah, just give us a quick rundown of just not only with the negotiations and the meetings, what is something that has kind of been, keeping you sort of productive, busy, just gonna just catch up with us. What's
Yeah.
going on in your life?
Yeah, negotiations are just still going, like I said. But I continue to work in pretty much all genres of voiceover. So thankfully, I still have my commercial work, my corporate work, live action dubbing, some radio dramas. So definitely staying busy with all of that, which has been really good. While we continue to hash out video game protections. I'm writing, which is great. Got some momentum on some of those projects. But yeah, just doing what we all do in this industry, just plugging along day by day, paying the bills as best I can. Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I know that you're kind of been negotiating with the strikes and everything, and I've just kind of been curious because I haven't really been. I mean, I know that I'm supposed to be following up with it, but yeah, but I'm just kind of wanting to know if you're allowed to disclose any specific details of how that is kind of going along, because I kind of would like
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
No, we've been public about quite a few of the things that have been going on, and basically we're kind of down to the last bit, which is protections for artificial intelligence, for voice, for movement, to prevent us from being wholesale removed from video games and completely replaced with digital replicas and generative AI. And we are kind of still at an impasse with the employers as to what they are willing to protect and what we're willing to accept. And so we've got some meetings coming up with them that hopefully maybe we can get to an agreement about what works best for both sides. But it really has come down to, protecting the future of our industry for voiceover actors, making sure that we can still make a living doing this, that we can still continue to do work in the games that we love, and not be replaced by robots.
Oh yeah. And for anybody that's been following this podcast, you know that this is just AI. It's around, it's here, and it's not gonna I wish I could say that like, oh, with this it's gonna go away like
No.
in about a month or so. No, it's not. It doesn't work like that, y'all. I mean,
Yeah.
it's because with technology, and that's kind of one of the downsides with when it comes to just everything just being so advanced and new
Yeah.
developments are being made. AI is very much one of those cases where the more that people are experimenting with it, the more it becomes like, oh, this kind of sounds like a real person, but it's not. And I'm just kind of
Yeah.
like, look, I don't know. I don't care if anybody says that like, oh, well, it's cheaper because you don't have to use. No, like you could get a much better performance out of a real person.
Yeah,
So
without and just tell them what to do as opposed to fiddling around with a bunch of settings and everything to try and get what you want. But it's not perfect, but it's getting there. That's the problem is we're trying to protect now from what the technology is going to be in the future.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I know that there's a lot of like, look, if I were to just do an episode just literally focusing on AI, I know there's other podcasts out there that kind of go more in depth about, or just look, just ask Nava, which you're also a part of.
Yep.
So they
Exactly.
have pretty much the nitty gritty rundown. I mean, they cover more about this than I possibly could, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Absolutely.
whole can of worms altogether.
It is. It is. And, we like to say, we're not anti-AI. We know it's here to stay, but it's about protections, about consent, compensation, and transparency.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. But yeah, besides that, like you've been writing, just doing a lot of that stuff. So I just kind of I'm just curious, like what is something that you're kind of been cooking, as the cool kids say, with the
Yeah,
world?
actually, one thing which I can talk about because it's coming out soon is that I am going to be the lead character of Samantha Keller in the Invidious Expedition, which drops this month. We're working on our marketing campaign right now, which is a radio drama from the people who brought you the Leviathan Chronicles, which is a hugely popular podcast right now. So I'm very excited about that coming out. I continue to contribute to the No Sleep podcast. We've got some really exciting things in store for that. So that's kind of the exciting stuff that people can take a listen to or look forward to coming out. So yeah,
Yeah, so it definitely seems like you've been keeping yourself, quite busy and productive, which is a good thing because I know that yeah, with just everything else that has just been happening. Like,
yeah,
I know recently, back in January, we had the fires, which was,
yep,
just devastating all around, and we're kind of still dealing with in the recovery process. So, in case if anybody asks, like, I'm doing okay. I know
yeah,
you're doing fine, but we know so many that have still are
yeah,
being dispatched at the moment, and yeah, it's gonna take a while before we start seeing like legit progress with just recovering of just the LA Angelino recoverance as I as I'm
right,
probably gonna
exactly.
dub it. But yeah, not only with that, but yeah, with the strikes and politically it's just been chaotic. So
Really has.
let's just say, since last time we had to catch up on a lot of stuff. Most of it not really all that great, but a lot of
Yeah,
it, but some positive, some negative, but that's
right.
it's life.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Yeah. And I think the last time we spoke, we took a little dive into your little background, but I just kind of wanted to ask you specifically with like improv and combat training, would you say that those were very instrumental on helping you just I guess really learn more about the industry and really applying those skills to voiceover and just acting in general?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, acting training in all of its forms is hugely beneficial in voiceover. Improv is great for everything from animation to commercials. And yeah, my combat training really has helped, when I have done video games that involved those type of soldier characters or warrior characters has been really, really helpful. And then of course my theater and singing training, giving me a foundation in vocal health and knowing how to work with my instrument. So yeah, it all absolutely contributes to the work that I do.
Yeah, what was something that was the most instrumental when it comes to, your training and
Honestly, probably my singing and theater because I have ended up in, in specific, especially in video games, doing a lot of utility work, a lot of creature work, efforts that require that, that is vocally stressful. And so having the foundation in how to protect myself and do things as safely as I can. Nothing's 100% safe, but is, being able to protect myself as best as possible, I think has been one of the biggest benefits to the work that I do.
cool. And this is something that I kind of forgot. I don't know if I also asked this the last time, but
Yeah.
tell us about, being in the army with Iraq, just being a war veteran and also
Yeah.
just how that kind of plays into everything that you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, having life experiences in general is going to inform your acting because you have experiences and feelings and situations to draw upon in your performances. And especially, having combat experience, I've played characters that have been military veterans, or even if it's like a fantasy game, characters that are involved in war in some element or in some aspect or another. And so that absolutely contributes. And then just, things like perseverance and tenacity and loss and all of those themes that we see a lot of times pop up in acting. It's like I've got direct experience and an emotional connection to those types of instances and scenarios.
Yeah, and having the master's degree in journalism was also kind of like, would you say that it was really beneficial to your
Yeah,
training?
absolutely. I mean, again, partnered with my theater experience, being able to break down script analysis and language and understand how things work structurally, both from commercial work to corporate narration. It's definitely helped with my corporate stuff. I do a lot of corporate videos, and having that academic background really helps bring confidence and authenticity to those types of reads. And then obviously it's been helpful in my writing as well. I mean, it's a different style, but it still contributes.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that one of the main topics that we discuss in the industry is bringing more authenticity with,
Mhm.
your roles and performances. So with you
Yeah.
having Romani and, just advocating for queer,
Yeah.
because we have like the Queer Vox Academy, which is y'all should check them out. So would you say that, having a more fighting for more authenticity in voiceover has really been a big deal on helping other actors get seen and also
Yeah.
just having a lot more people in the industry that are just fighting for a better change and
Absolutely. I
understanding.
mean, so many of the groups that I'm involved with, it's about trying to expand opportunities for communities that have been underrepresented in the industry, queer communities, people of color, people with disabilities, just making sure that they have the opportunity to tell their stories, and also play in the same sandbox that everyone else who is in this industry, perhaps who have had more opportunities, that we can sort of spread the wealth around. And if if casting is looking for authentic voices, that we provide a vehicle where they can find those people with our databases and connecting them with our sister organizations that also have databases to help find those people that can best represent the characters that they're looking to cast.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know that with a lot of the groups that I'm also in, I know that because like I said, there's Nava, there's the voiceover camp, and so many other ones, Skills Up that are just also being very friendly towards, queer or BIPOC,
Hmm.
and it's just kind of really refreshing to see a lot of
Yeah.
this that is just being, you know, that is going on. I mean, I know that we still have a long process. We got a long ways to go, but still, I
But it's
think
a
that
start, and just know that there are people out there fighting for you. So even if you don't feel like you're in a position to take up that fight yourself, there are those of us and those groups out there that are working on your behalf, trying to increase opportunities for people.
yep, exactly. So, talking about one of some of your voiceover performances real quick,
Yeah,
because you're in Transformers, God of War, Call of Duty, just getting to be in all of these franchises.
yeah.
Yeah, just tell us about it. Like, is it something that you're just kind of still surprised?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's kind of, it's just kind of the work, right? It's like no one's really going to know who I am, but yeah, I have contributed to a lot of these different franchises. I do a lot of utility work, and so I love to tell people you might not know who I am, but you probably killed me or talk to me at least if it's Starfield. But yeah, it's really great to have come from, watching video games and playing video games to being part of some of the franchises that I've really, really respected and admired over the years. And even if it's just as a small part to be able to contribute to the mediums that I really, really love. And my Transformer series may have gotten overlooked because of COVID. The shutdown happened right around the time the first season launched, but I still have an action figure, which is pretty cool. Like that was always a bucket list item, was to have an action figure of a character I played. So at least I could say I have that.
That's so nice. Yeah, and doing these conventions as well. I mean, that's yeah, that's also a whole other world in and of itself.
Yeah. I don't do signings and stuff at a lot of conventions, but I do moderate panels at quite a few conventions for Nava. I have for SAG-AFTRA as well, trying to do things at like San Diego Comic-Con or WonderCon or LA Comic-Con to let people know what the work that we're doing, fighting for AI protections, which affects not just voice actors, but anyone who's in the arts and entertainment, writers, artists, comic book creators. And then, Queer Vox, we've also done panels and things like that. So talking about diversity and representation. So that's something I really do enjoy is doing panels. And, we just Queer Vox was just at VoiceOver View Atlanta, where we had a couple panels, which went over really, really well, talking about authenticity in casting and talking about gender and voice and things like that.
Yeah, and speaking of VO Atlanta, I mean, I didn't go, but yeah, how was it? Because I've heard so much
Yeah.
buzz about it.
Yeah, no, it was really great. I mean, it's one of the biggest voiceover events that happens. And so it's good to meet people from not just here in LA, but from all over the country. And some people come in from other countries. And to get to see people who maybe are in LA as well, but I don't even get to see very often. So it's really funny that I have to go to Atlanta to like see two of my agents who I haven't seen in years. So that's fun. But it's really good to be able to reach an audience that if you're not tapped into kind of the LA community, you might not know the work that we're doing. And we had quite a few people who came up and were like, "Oh my gosh, we had no idea Queer Vox was a thing. We're so excited to know that you exist." So from that standpoint, it was really good.
Yeah, and VO Atlanta, for those that might be curious, it's a voiceover conference in
Mhm.
Atlanta.
That
Okay,
pretty much covers it. It happens in April. No, in March. It happens in March. And it's the same organizers who do One Voice Dallas. But it's a little bigger than that. So it's grown a lot over the years. Nava is a sponsor, SAG-AFTRA is a sponsor. And so it's a good place to see a lot of the organizations that are out there that are doing coaching, getting to see casting directors, agents hear their side of things from how things are going in the industry, things like that.
yeah, and these are also really great if you want to but I don't. But it really is just kind of like one
Right.
of those conferences where Yeah, you get to see all of these people that are in the industry, like especially some of the guests that I've had on my show. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just kind of it's a way for you to just, get to learn more about, the business aspect because when you go to a convention like you mentioned WonderCon or San Diego, LA, like they're fun when
Yeah.
you're
I mean, those are fan events, right? Where these are
yeah,
focused very much on the business of the industry.
exactly, yeah. So those are kind of like the stuff that yeah, every single time I always say this too. I joke around that like, man, when y'all be having those voiceover conferences, I need to save up. Those are the ones where, if you really want to take it seriously as a business and, really do it as a career and stuff like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
There's
Because
a
I mean,
lot of time, money, and yeah, and
yeah, and
that is
everything
another
covered
investment.
from, marketing techniques to,
Yeah.
you know, how to improve your audition. I mean, it really covers the gamut of the things and the skills that you need to succeed in the industry in this day and age.
Yeah. So that's why I always say to everyone that wanted, do these conferences, it's like, yeah, they're really great for you, but gotta save up.
Yeah, and that's the problem is,
And traveling.
yeah, and I've had this conversation with newer students before. Is like, unfortunately, this industry it costs money, there's equipment, but again, there's a tiered level to it. Like you don't have to start off with the most expensive gear or, flying over to, out to a dozen different conventions or taking all these different classes. Like, level up as your career levels up, spend your money according to where you are at the time. And then as things get better and improve, then you can look at expanding out into different opportunities as well.
I mean, I didn't start out with this, so
No, exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
you gotta start somewhere. Gotta start somewhere, y'all.
Yes, you absolutely do. Like I wasn't doing conventions my first many, many years into the industry.
Me neither.
Yeah.
No, and it's like, yeah, just doing the conventions is like the the main reason why I do these is that, well, I mean, yeah, you get to just soak in the atmosphere, but also getting to
Mhm.
see the people that you I mean, I think Bob Bergen put it best where it's and I bring up Bob a lot on my show, so I'm not
Yeah,
apologizing
I
for
mean,
that.
he's
I
been
mean,
in
he's
the
great.
industry for, longer than most people I know. So yeah.
Yeah, and also a guest of mine. So, he was saying something along the lines of rubbing elbows with the people that you want, who have the career that you wanted, and it's so true. And getting to talk to a lot of people that are in the industry that have been doing this for a very long time, and getting to pick apart their brains and really getting the nitty gritty of what goes on, and I think that's kind of like the best approach to do it. Is like learning from those who have the career that you that you're working
Exactly.
towards
That you
instead
aspire to,
you
100%.
aspire to be. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, getting coaching from the best people, like Skills Hub is a great one, is a really good
Hmm.
resource with Jennifer Hale. Just want to give her a shout out and many others. I know
Absolutely.
that you're one of the coaches there. There's
Yeah, no,
truly
Skills Hub is definitely like one of the first resources I'll give to people because there's so many people out there who are coaching and they're not all reputable, unfortunately.
mm,
Will just
yeah.
take your money and make you a demo, which, I didn't make my first demo until probably 2 years into like active VO training. And so, yeah. And so I know that Jen is very particular about the classes that she offers, the people who coach on her site. And there's other really good groups out there, but that's definitely one of the ones that I recommend to people.
Yeah. For TV and film, theater, just doing a lot of this acting mumbo jumbo.
Yep.
Is there any particular do you have like I mean, I know that acting is acting, but is
Yeah.
there one that kind of really speaks to you in a special way? Just that kind of holds a special
I mean, I come from a theater background, and so I
yeah.
just theater. I don't have the time to do it
Theater.
anymore, but I just really do love it.
Yeah, I think I started out doing like improv and singing in a choir, so I did some stage stuff. I'd love to do it again. I think right now voiceover has kind of been like, oh, and also physical fitness and
Yeah,
exercise. So
absolutely.
I'm really huge on that. In fact, I'm about to go back to the gym today. So, hey,
Yay.
yeah, I'm all about that stuff whenever I do these episodes. So we'll probably get to that in a little bit. But yeah, like with because I know with so much that has just been happening, what is something that helps you stay informed on, the latest
Stay informed. Well,
Yeah.
I obviously, as being a member of like the SAG Video Game Negotiating
Oh
Committee, being
yeah.
a board member
Yeah.
of NAVA, being the vice president of ClearVox, so a lot of my information is coming direct from the source. I am part of the source that distributes that information, but also keeping abreast of bills like where NAVA's working really hard to get the No Fakes Act through, and there was just a new bill that was introduced in California. And so staying up to date with what's going on in the latest trends in technology, both in the United States and overseas. And so following, reputable outlets like Wired, who are doing really good coverage of what's going on in the world of technology. And then, obviously things like right to publicity, protecting your information that way, what's going on in the labor organizing side of things. So I'm very selective about the news sources that I source. But it's really good to make sure you're being informed properly, not from like the rumor mill and things like that. And please don't take, as gospel things that you hear on Twitter, because there's a lot of false information that goes on out there. So please reach out to the people who are directly involved. Like those of us on the negotiating committee, we've been very open with our contact information. We have been, Zeke Alton and Crispin Freeman have been doing town halls to let members who are, or to let performers who are not perhaps members of the union know what's going on. And so just working really hard to make sure we can get accurate information out there from the source and not from the rumor mill.
I have so much to say about that.
I know, I
But
know.
man, that's why I always learn from the sources. Don't just listen to false misinformation that you might be going around on social media. That's
Absolutely.
all I'm gonna say about that. But
Absolutely.
people,
Yes.
yeah. But yeah, I'm just kind of like, just it's so important to be informed, but you gotta watch, like you said, check to see if this person that you're listening advice to is refutable and is
Yes.
somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. Just
Right.
saying.
And if you're looking for up-to-date information on social media about like the strikes and stuff, please follow Game Performance Matters. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram. Like they're putting out because they're getting their information direct from the negotiating committee, but they're also able to talk about things that we, because of, union rules and contract rules, can't talk about. And so I'm always sending people to them to, okay, what is side letter six? What does it mean if something's struck? What does it mean if something's grandfathered, those types of languages. So I definitely send people to them for, getting information if they are looking on social media.
Right on. So, as a coach and teacher, because you've instructed a lot of newer students that are just
Yeah.
getting started, what is something that has been, what do you learn from them just as much as you're teaching them from,
Oh,
the ropes and basics of? And yeah, what is it, why does coaching mean so much to you when, you're just teaching a new generation of actors that are just
yeah,
getting
I
started?
mean, I did not set out to be a coach and I don't advertise as being a coach, but I've been asked to coach. And so, if someone asked me to coach like a Jen Hale or JP Carliak, I'm more than happy to do it. I also coach myself. Like, it's a never ending, you should never stop coaching, no matter where you are in your career. But for me, I was very lucky in that I had a lot of people who educated me and helped me out when I was coming up. And I just want to make sure that people are as informed about this industry, not only working on their acting and, I obviously train people on commercials and video games and stuff like that. So not only working on their performance, but also making sure they understand the business of voiceover and they understand the difference between making a living doing this or just doing it as a hobby. Because I don't want new people coming to me and thinking that, oh, I'm gonna, just break into animation and video games. Like unless you are a celebrity, that's really not the reality. And so I personally try to be very honest with my students and let them know this is exactly how the industry is working right now. It can always change, but this is how it's working right now in this day and age. It's important to diversify, to not just be involved in one side of the industry because, as we see now, like if there's a video game strike, I lost a whole chunk of income because of not working video games, but luckily I have other sources of revenue. But I'm always learning from students to know, oh, what are some things that have changed, because I get all of my auditions from agents. And so learning from them as far as like, oh, what is the world of the pay to plays like? And oh, you can find auditions on Twitter. And those are things that I, never really looked into. And so it's really interesting to be able to hear that from people, hear kind of, what they've heard from other people in the industry, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think all of everything that you just said, I can't really add. Everything is just kind of like, it's just one of those questions where I just ask and then I'm just like, huh, is there something I can add on to this? No, just
No.
yeah. So what is something, oh yeah, for self-care, physical fitness or vocal. Yeah, so taking care of yourself.
Yeah,
Just
I mean, I definitely being hydrated is a big one, making sure that you're protecting your instrument because that's most important. And everything from, if I have a lot of narration work to do, I'm talking for a long amount of time. So even if it's not something that's quote unquote vocally stressful, you're still talking a lot. And so making sure that you have built up the stamina to do that. I'm a big scuba diver, and so I do that kind of for my mental health, working with some nonprofits to do marine debris cleanup and coral restoration on the coral reefs really helps with that. And then just getting outside. I'm a big sun person. I need the sun. The sun fuels me, which is why I love LA. And even if it's just going outside and like sitting in my backyard or something for a little bit, really, really helps refuel me. Because, just sitting behind your computer and being in your studio all day can be very draining.
exactly. And what would you say is the most creatively fulfilling about all of this?
Oh, I don't know if I can specify. I mean, it's really because I've had several other careers before coming back to acting, and it's really the one thing that brings me consistent joy. Even if it's, quote unquote, a boring corporate spot, right? It's still, I am working in the industry that I love. And I feel like I've worked really hard to be good at what I do. And so that is very rewarding to me.
Right on. So name some of the projects or just anything in your life where you kind of look back on and you remind yourself, this is why I just love doing this.
Yeah. I mean, Transformers is always my go-to. It was such an honor to play that character. It was a really special character to me. I really related to her, to Alita 1. And the art was amazing. Everything about that show was amazing. And again, like it was sad that it came out during COVID, but that character and that show, that trilogy will always resonate with me. And then, being able to look at characters that I've done in video games that are, even though they're very small roles, being like, oh, yeah, I came up with that creature voice. Like that is quintessentially me because that voice, that sound did not exist. Like some of the characters I did for God of War Ragnarok, like those sounds did not exist until I came up with them, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah. And doing interviews like this, I mean, I'm just gonna give a shout out to two particular people. I know there's more, but you've done interviews with Allison and also my friend Amber
Yeah.
Fangirl on your YouTube channel. So, what is something that you really like about doing, podcasts and interviews?
Oh, I mean, I love hopefully getting information out there that's helpful to someone or helpful to many people. Rather than trying to talk about myself a lot, I, don't really care. But, it's like if I can, use my experiences as a way to help educate other people, in finding their path, that's always really exciting to me.
Right on. So I think we're kind of just about, yeah, we've approached the end. The
Okay.
end is near. So
It is.
I think I have like I mean, if we do like a number three in the future, I'll probably
Yeah.
come up with some more questions. But for now, where can people check out your stuff, your work, content,
Yeah,
just
absolutely. I
so
mean, you
far?
can always go to my website. I always tell people if you spell my name right, I'm the only one who exists, Linsay Rousseau. I'm on Instagram. I am on TikTok now. I finally dove into that a little bit. And I'm also on Blue Sky. I have quit the Musk-controlled cesspool that is Twitter slash X slash AIX, whatever it is. So I am no longer on that. But you can find me on, and I'm usually very quick to if people reach out to me to respond. I have a contact form on my website. I'm also on Skills Hub. So yeah.
Any last bit of advice before we close?
Just never give up on your dreams, but also be realistic and be as informed and educated as possible about what you're doing and the business side of things, because this is a really fantastic industry. It's fulfilling, artistically and everything, but make sure that you are grounding that in the knowledge that is important to help you succeed and that you are training to make sure you are as prepared as possible when opportunities arise.
Amen to that. And before we close out, I just wanted to say I love your background and
Oh, thank you.
yeah, just wanted to point that out there because color is
I
my
love
thing.
color. Yes, exactly. And I got tired of digital backgrounds. They just weren't working for me. So, because I have weird different light sources. So, yeah, my little background.
Okie dokie. And would you like to do an outro for this?
Sure. What's the name of your show again? I always forget.
It's the Station Square podcast. So say
Okay.
your name, what you've done, work,
Yeah.
and
Okay. Hey, I'm Lindsay Rousseau. I'm a voice actor. You might know me as Alita One from the Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy and a lot of other things, especially video games. And you are listening to the Station Squared podcast.
yeah, Station Square with Robert Jackson. Let's
Oh,
go.
there we go. Stations, not Station Squared, Station Square podcast with Robert Jackson. I was thinking mathematically squared.
It works. But
Yeah.
anyways, thank you for watching, and I guess as my little plug-in, be sure to check out some casting calls that I put out for some stuff that I'm doing, and
Yeah.
I think I received your audition. So yeah, we're just gonna be looking for it. For those that don't know, I have a Furious 5 casting document. You can find more about it on my social media, so just follow me on there. And a special project that I'm gonna be releasing later this year, probably for
Ooh.
Halloween, so maybe for end of year thing. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah, just
Keep an eye out.
yeah, just keep an eye out for that, and I'll talk to y'all later. Be sure to follow us on social media. Be sure to check out Lindsay, cool person, radical, and yeah, I have nothing else to say. I don't have anything else to say.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening.
thanks. Goodbye.